Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. Code Mayo and Underdog. Get yourself in there now. Get some free picks, some bonus funds, and a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. All right, we'll make an entry on Underdog by the end of the show. And I'll dump it in the live chat. Thank you for being with us. If you're watching this live, if you want to comment in the comment section, you got to be a sub to Mayo Media Network, so please go do that. But you can always check out everything after the fact on demand on Mayo Media Network, YouTube, PME, Spotify, Pat Mayo Experience, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. Rate and review and sub over there as well. Ryan Noonan, Conner Allen, back on the line from 4for4.com and Betsperts.com. Ryan, you won last week in the prop draft. You were 2-0. Guess who was 0-2?
Hopefully Conner.
It was.
Stacking
it was
up
Conner.
L's.
It was Conner.
Okay, let's go, buddy.
God, man. Everything I give out on this show has just been turning into dust. I mean, no better time to change that, though. It's like, what, week 10? So week 10 Monday Night Football is the turning point of the season for me.
Unfortunately, we don't have any more double headers to really pile up some of the picks. So the overall records, since we've been doing the prop draft, I was 1-1 last week. I go up one, 7-4 for the year. Conner was 2-0. He goes to 8-3 on his best props in the prop draft. Conner, you were 0-2. You followed 3-5, and Sharp Stack went even. 1-1, 4-4 for the year on Sharp Stack, trying to take those odds. So Conner, for the Packers hosting the Philadelphia Eagles, it's now a 1-point spread. It was 2.5 for most of the week. I'm using coolbet.com. If you're in Canada, outside of Ontario, please use Coolbet. Fastest payouts in the biz. Better VIG than almost anywhere else. They're not taking 20 cents aside here at Coolbet. So go to coolbet.com if you want the best numbers. But the Eagles, it's basically a pick 'em at this point. So +1 for the Eagles. Do you have a lean in this game? Because I like the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles are probably an interesting side here. Like the Packers, with missing Tucker Kraft, with missing Jaden Reed, you have Matthew Golden injured. Like their receiving core was already kind of like a sum of a bunch of different parts and making it work anyways. And now with that and Josh Jacobs still a little bit banged up, it's tough to imagine that the Packers have too much success offensively against an Eagles defense that added a couple of good pieces here as well, before the trade deadline. I think this game, though, like, is really interesting because I think both teams want to run the ball. They kind of want to, control clock here and be the dominant force here. But if one of the teams breaks it open and like you have this jailbreak game scripted for either Jordan Love or Jalen Hurts, it could make the game pretty interesting. So 45.5 right now, the total. Like, I mean, I think this could go 10 points under or 10 points over, honestly, depending on how the game shakes out here, like at halftime, basically.
Yeah, 45.5 would be pretty interesting, Noonan. That it reminds me a lot of these two teams are better than Arizona, but what happened with Arizona and Seattle, where just the game got so lopsided so quickly, it's like, oh no, the over is going to smash in this game all of a sudden.
Yeah, if one of these two teams forces the other, it's kind of, I think what Connor's saying is if we get a situation where it gets out of neutral game script, because I think it could be kind of a slog if we stay in there. Like both these teams tend to play with their food a little bit, and like they definitely have like another gear. But if the other team doesn't force them to get there, they're fine just kind of mucking it up and playing slow and, running the ball a ton. So I could see definitely, playing that out through props. I think this is a spot where the Eagles could shift a gear. They made some good additions through the trade market. They also got some guys back from injury, and Nakobe Dean's back. They got Nolan Smith back off of IR, and then again added the guys at the trade deadline. So we could see a little bit of a different version of this defense compared to what we saw early in the year. They still have, I think, some weak holes in the secondary that you could pick on, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see a different shift defensively with the Eagles, and I think that could show up here.
One thing we do not know about this game, Conner, and you brought it up, we don't know if Matthew Golden is going to go. I think that he might end up playing, and Dontavian Wicks is also questionable to play in this game. There's a chance that both play. There's a chance that neither play. If they both don't play, like this tree gets condensed very quickly on the offensive side of the ball, which would really help out the prop market.
Yeah, it is one of those things where a lot of the other guys aren't even posted. Like we're not getting any Malik Heath or whatever, Savion Williams or anything like that until we know about the other guys. But I think the key is it'll kind of like condense around Romeo Dobbs And then Christian Watson was on the field over 75% of the time last week, and he's still kind of working his way back, but could be forced into a more prominent role. Interested to see what his props like, if those guys are announced out, if that balloons up, because right now I think his yards are a pretty interesting look. But that being said, we have, I don't know, 2 years. I mean, probably significantly less than that of him actually playing. He's not necessarily a good target earner in the short to intermediate areas, but obviously like amazing deep threat. And I think could take the top off here. So I think his alts are pretty interesting.
So he is actually going to be the pick where I go in the draft to start things off. But I did.
Oh, you're giving yourself the first pick, Patrick? That seems fair. That seems fair.
Listen, I've given it to you guys. We went computer. We went Connor. Listen, Connor, if you want to go first, you can. But I did want to make note that Savion Williams is also dealing with a foot injury as well. He might not play too.
I'm not the one complaining. Hey, Noonan, if you want,
I just want to give you shit. I mean, your name's on the building here, right? So theoretically, you can do whatever the hell you want with it. Listen,
my name's on this building. I'm going to get my name on Lambeau. It's going to become Mayo Stadium very soon, which means I can just walk into the broadcast booth and just start calling plays if I want to. This is how all this works now in 2025
Yeah, I think you do some pretty crazy crap and get yourself pardoned too. This is just kind of the lay of the land these days.
Yeah, I got to tell you, like, I'm just watching. It's like, is that Trump in the broadcast booth? It's like, turn that one up.
Forever.
I was like, turn that one up. We need to listen to this and see what's going on here. It was wild.
We had a quad box going, and so it was on there. We listened for a little bit, like, okay, that's enough of that. Clicked off. Like 5 minutes later, he's still going. I'm like, there's no way this guy's still in the booth. It was a trip. It was very interesting, that's for sure.
So my first pick in the prop draft is going to be Christian Watson, over 21.5 longest reception. And
it's a great play.
For the points, Connor, that you basically laid out, I don't even need to play the whole game. I just need him to get one of these looks down the field. And he'll get 5 of them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Catch maybe 1, 2. So yeah, I think if he catches 3 of them, I mean, he's hitting the other alts there. But yeah, I think regular prop up to 40, which I mean, certainly bakes in at least one of these long ones.
So on Underdog, his 40.5 is his receiving total. His longest reception is 21.5. What I'm going to do for the purposes of this show, when we release one later on, do you think it's worth it to go up to 29.5 for his longest reception?
Yeah. I mean, his average up to target is like 22.5 or something crazy. Like his average yards per reception so far this year is above. Again, we have a really small sample, but he's been out there a ton. If it's condensed target share based off of all the injuries going on, yeah, it's basically a over 1.5 receptions line for him when you start chasing these like 40.5 to 50-yard prop numbers. Considering how he's used and considering how his quarterback likes to attack defenses too. Really, it gels so well with what Jordan Love does well and what he wants to do. So yeah, I think any iteration of the Christian Watson stuff is good.
So with the second pick in the prop draft for this evening is going to go to the computer, the Sharp Stack system, 4for4.com/Mayo. You use code Mayo50 up there. You can test drive Sharp Stack for the entire week, completely free, 7-day trial, and then it's 50% off the monthly plan after that. You can hit the link down in the description to get right there. All the details are there, and it works for any of the sports. Although, as I mentioned on last week's show, I've been having far more success with NBA and even college football with what the computer is spitting up, because the NFL lines are just sharp. So unless you really catch it at the right price, at the right book, and unfortunately, I don't have the book to play this one on, but the pick it's going to go with is over 4.5 receiving yards for Jahan Dotson, which is currently at BetMGM at -110. It is by far the lowest on the market. If you want to use FanDuel or DraftKings, it's 8.5. So over 4.5 receiving yards. Fuck, you could play the middle if you really wanted to. If he has 1 catch for 7 yards.
I mean, I hate it, but it's probably the right play. It's like John Dotson's like a cardio king. He plays like a bunch and then just never gets targeted because he stinks. So
you said you know what? The reason that you're 3-5 right now, because you said the exact same thing about Chris Moore like 3 weeks ago, and he ended up with like 5 catches and 70 yards and a touchdown.
Yep, exactly. So this is what fade me, tail Sharp Stack. Probably the best promo you're gonna get there.
Yeah, so Dotson over 4.5 receiving yards at BetMGM right now, -110. It's also 4.5 at Hard Rock if you're in Florida, and nothing else is even. The next closest one is Caesars at 6.5. Most of the mainstream books, like Fanatics, is at 10.5 for Dotson.
Yeah,
Wild.
They don't count. I don't even turn that one on.
Wait, you don't want to wager 87 cents to win
Yeah.
64 cents?
It's tough. It's a tough scene over there. But you get your, Fanatics points, stack them up, bud. Whatever you want to do.
You
The
get
Fanatics points that you can only use to buy boosts, you mean?
Oh, is that what it is now?
That's it. Yeah, you
Oh,
buy
God.
profit boosts.
Oh, sweet. I thought you could get a poorly made hat. I really hope they're not the next sponsor of this show after saying that. Who knows? We'll see in a year's time about that. So which one of you two would like to go first between you two? You can settle it amongst yourselves.
I want to give Connor the floor. I mean, he needs the full board, it sounds like, as an option. So I want to give him as much as he can get.
The disrespect over here. No, I need to get back to my roots. I need to start stacking up some wins here. Only unders today. I'm going to go with first Luke Musgrave under 30.5 receiving yards. Eagles allowing just 4.9 yards per target to opposing tight ends. Luke Musgrave has basically just done nothing all year behind Tucker Kraft. Doesn't run block all that well either. So I think that we might see John Fitzpatrick play a bunch. Came in, caught a bunch of balls when Jordan Love threw the ball 37 times last week against Carolina in a good matchup. Now it's a tough matchup. I don't think that they're going to throw the ball a ton unless they fall behind. And even then, I don't think he's going to be super, super involved there. So 30 yards seems a little high for a guy just coming in there and playing, getting his first reps of the season, basically.
I like it. Cradle to the Musgrave, unders. Sharp Stack likes his under 3.5 as well on terms of total reception. That one feels like I think you go like the under 3.5 or hell, even like under 2.5, or you're like, hey, this is just the game. They have no other options. It's like 7+ catches for Musgrave. It doesn't feel like he's going to be at 4.
Yeah, I get that. I think that's a good opportunity there. You can kind of hedge your thoughts. Not a big yak guy too, so I understand why Connor's going with the yards, right? It seems like he'd have to have volume from a reception standpoint to kind of go over this number. So I like it. A little challenging just because it's such a condensed target tree there, but we'll see how it shakes out with the injury report.
So this happened to me yesterday. I really needed Dalton Schultz. I was like, man, 4.5 receptions is a lot of receptions. I'll just go with the over of 36.5 yards. And then I was sitting there, I was like, oh, he has 6 catches for 29 yards right now. It's like, oh, come on, man. He finally got there. Then Nick Chubb absolutely blew me out of the water with a 21-yard run on the final drive when they most definitely should not have been running the ball. It's like, of course, that's how he gets to his over.
He had one carry for 3 yards for 3/4 of the game, basically.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah, we do this on purpose and for a living. It's great. It's great.
Noonan, you're up. Your first round pick here.
I wanted to do some sort of Christian Watson variation as well because I think it's fantastic. So I'll take alts. I don't know if we have that priced in at Underdog, like 50 plus. Otherwise, I'll take the normal 40.5, 41.5, whatever it is. I just think he catches 2 balls, and that's really all he needs to do to get over this number. So however you want to play, I'll take the alts though, if it's available.
I think that's a good show. For the purposes of this, we're trying to stay between even money, like plus 120 to minus 120. For the purposes of us doing this prop draft, unless you really wanted to go with a crazy out. But you're not getting any extra points in terms of you're either going to get a correct or an incorrect on this.
I'll take the 40.5, Pat. Thank you.
All right. For 40.5 over on Christian Watson. So the first round of the prop draft for Monday Night Football, I have over 21.5 longest catch for Christian Watson. Noonan has Watson over 40.5 receiving yards. Cradle of the Musgrave for Connor under 30.5 receiving yards at minus 110. And then Sharp Stack has identified both Hard Rock and BetMGM as the 2 places to play the Dotson over 4.5 receiving yards at minus 110. That is 6 yards lower than it is at some books, 4 yards lower at most of the mainstream books. Again, Sharp Stack, there's not sharpstack.com, 4for4.com/Mayo. Get yourself in there, code Mayo50, test it out for the entire week for free. And then, hey, if you like it, stick around at 50% off with code Mayo50. Coming up next, the second round plus some future bets right after this. Somewhat surprisingly, I actually take tailgating very seriously. Grill fired up, cooler packed, and yeah, I'm the guy everyone counts on for the food. Whether that's my home barbecues, birthdays, tailgating, doesn't matter what it is, Pat Mayo is always relied upon for bringing the food. That's why I go with Omaha Steaks, the official sponsor of tailgating. They've been America's original butcher for over a century, and everything they send is top-notch, perfectly aged steaks, juicy burgers, those thick, deli-style franks, all delivered directly to your door. I tossed the ribeyes on the grill last weekend. Crazy tender, amazing flavor, and you can taste the quality. There's no off season for flavor here. Make your next game day delicious with Omaha Steaks. Just head to omahasteaks.com and use promo code MAYO at checkout for $35 off your order. That's omahasteaks.com. Promo code MAYO. Terms apply. See site for details. Whether you like golf, whether you like fantasy, or you just enjoy lots of money, starting the second week of January, the race for the Mayo Cup is on. Join thousands of fantasy players at fantasygolfchampionships.com for your shot at over $1 million in prizes, including the $110,000 first place prize. And this isn't like those giant contests where it goes from $110 to $20. No, everyone who finishes inside the top 250 this year wins at least 4 figures. Everyone inside the top 20 gets 5 figures. And it's simple. Takes 10 seconds a week. You pick one player per week. You can use that guy once all season long. Even if you know nothing about golf, you can still play in this and try to win the grand prize. Sign up now at fantasygolfchampionships.com or hit the description and just use the link. The race for the Mayo Cup is on. Coming back with round 2 of the Monday Night Football player prop draft. Ryan, you had the last pick of the first round, so you get the first pick of the second round. We're going snake fashion here.
First of all, I want to keep up for the Mayo Cup. People need to join that. Connor, you need to get in this.
Yeah,
like,
you really do, Connor. This is perfect for you. You want to do you want to ask, basically, you know how you're on drive, you just told us, you're listening to Drive Time Chicago radio. They're giving you picks. That's all you need. You don't even have to bet the guy. You put him in as your one pick for the week, and that's it. It takes 10 seconds.
You guys trying to get me to pay the rake here or what? What's going on?
Yeah,
it's just a fun casual golf sweat all season long.
Okay, well then that's great. All right.
Like if you're not into golf, it's a good way to dip your toe in because it's pretty low stakes. It's $250 for the year. That's January through September. So it's really $7 a week. You can win $110,000. And I think second's 80, third is 65, fourth is 50. And you just get the money that your player wins in the tournament. But you can only use a player once all year long. But if you really want to spend 5 seconds just to make a pick and move on your day, you can do it. You can spend 3 hours thinking about it or 3 seconds. And we found out, Noonan, that it really doesn't make a difference. You just got to get lucky.
Yeah, it just takes one little strategy. We could talk about it, Connor. We'll have some one and done content. Guy Andy does some one and done content in the Betsperts Golf newsletter every week. Pat does a bunch too. So yeah, it's just a good casual way. It's the best contest out there. There's some imposters, but the Mayo Cup is number one. So
that's where you want to be.
That sounds great.
Hit the description, fantasygolfchampionships.com. Get yourself. It's a great gift too. So this is what Tambo and I have done. We have started gifting an entry to our fathers at Christmas time because it starts in January. And listen, I have nothing to fucking talk to with my dad, and we can actually talk about this. It gives us 20 minutes of conversation every single week, which is the max that I'm going to go to anyway. But it's not just how's the weather? What have you been doing? It's I've been working. Okay. But now we can talk about what golfer we want to take on this team. It's great.
There you go. Yeah, I love it. It's a great contest. We need to do more of it this year. But yeah, Mayo Cup's number one. Second pick for me was, again, I can know where my bread is buttered. I was I think 2 and 5 picking offensive props in week 10 and 8 and 2 on things that I bet on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to go Evan Williams over 5.5 tackles and assists, safety for the Packers here. This is plus money, plus 105, plus 110 out there. It is on Underdog as well. So we're going to go with Evan Williams, who projecting for 90% of the snaps in the spot. He has a handful of games where he's played 100% of snaps. My projection would have him comfortably almost 6.5. And at plus money, it's a great look here. And the Eagles, kind of on the boundary there, run stop with a box heavy safety like Williams. It's a great play. I like the number at 5.5. And
you get the extra bonus that Jalen Hurts doesn't attempt that many passes, Connor, that he's going to run. So you might pick up some extra tackle opportunities there as well.
Yeah, no, it's a good play. I basically just blind tail Noonan's tackle and assist prop. So, and that works out pretty successfully. Definitely not anywhere near as in the weeds on those as he is.
You're up next.
I am. And what you mentioned there too, with pass attempts maybe being low for Jalen Hurts, I'm going to go with AJ Brown under 4.5 receptions. It's minus 122 here at FanDuel. And so I think not as good splits here for AJ Brown versus zone, which Packers play a ton of. It's like 75% basically. They've also been a little bit leakier to wide receiver twos, not as much to wide receiver ones. And when Devonta Smith and AJ Brown have played together, they've been basically identical in terms of target share here. We already mentioned earlier in the show too that like in a normal game script, this is probably a little bit of a slower game. Also, we didn't even bring up the weather here. You know, it's going to be a little bit chilly. Looking at like 28 degrees Fahrenheit, 19 degrees real feel with some wind chill there. I don't know what that converts to Celsius, but pretty cold.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be incredibly cold. So I'm in on that one with you. I like that one a lot. And it kind of parlays into one of the overs that I'm taking at the end of this draft because Sharpstack is not taking my bet on this one because Jahan Dotson remains the best on the market right now in terms of its favorite EV prop. It's 4.6% EV right now. The next one we go to is going to be Saquon Barkley under 79.5 rushing yards from the computer at minus 115. That is at BetMGM right now as well. Some other numbers on the market, 77, 77.5, 76.5 at both FanDuel and DraftKings right now. Sports Interaction, I think, has the same number. Cool Bets at 79. If you want to play the 79 number at minus 110. So under 79.5 yards. I know it's terrifying to go against the Barkley under because if he beats it by like 100 yards because he has an 80-yard run in the game. But he's been comfortably under this number most of the season.
I mean, he's been legit bad for all year, and then he beats up on the Giants, and everyone's just like, oh, you know what? It's fine now. Old Saquon's back. So I thought about it honestly. But that's why Sharpstack is better than just the humans because it makes me a little sick to my stomach, but it's probably the right side.
So I'm going to go with Dallas Goedert here, and it kind of parlays with, I think it's going to be difficult to complete passes in this game. We know that the pressure that Green Bay can bring with only 4 guys, I don't think that they're going to ask Goddard to be the guy to stay in and chip. They'll probably have like Calcaterra on the field with that, or they'll put in an extra offensive lineman. And because of that pressure, I don't think that the Eagles' offensive line has been all that impressive so far this year. They're giving up a lot of pressures, which to my mind just means short passes to guys standing in front of Jalen Hurts if he can't get away from this rush and just take off running. So short completions. This is the interesting part here. So Goddard is 3.5 in most places, but the over is juiced up to minus 152. However, if you take the over 4.5 receptions, you're looking at like plus 125, plus 135 in some spots, Noonan. Which one do you think that you would prefer? I know for the purposes of the show, I'm going to have to take the 4.5 because the VIG is too low in the other spots, but over 4.5 receptions for Dallas Goedert, who Cuss did claim will not score the first touchdown this evening.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that feels good. He's just sometimes has these games that break your brain, right? He's like a massive red zone role. It kind of coincides well with, you think both you guys like the AJ Brown look. I have no problem with that at all. Actually, I think you can kind of attack this Packers defense at times over the middle of the field to get the linebackers in coverage. Again, they play so much zone, so it's a little bit harder to, like, you're not getting man-to-man that much, but I think it's an opportunity for them to win. And I like your handicap with the pressure rate. It has been a problem for them all year. It's definitely, I think, what they need to kind of shore up as we get into this part of the year. If they're going to actually be, a real contender in the NFC, they got to figure that out. It's been a problem. So I think it ties them well, and I like the handicap.
I think that you could look to rushing attempts in this game as well. Like, Josh Jacobs is as low as 16.5 on DraftKings right now. You're paying a little bit of juice on that. I think that he gets over that number. He's off the injury report with his calf injury right now, Connor. Even Jalen Hurts over 6.5 rushing attempts. Well, that's a bad number. That's minus 220. Over 7.5 rushing attempts is minus 120. I think that's a pretty good look as well.
Yeah, and Hurts' yards only like 27.5 too, which is, I don't know, feels a little bit low there. Yeah, but yeah, for attempts, Jacobs, Hurts, and then Saquon 17.5. Like,
that one's iffier for me.
It's tough. It's like, yeah, I mean, supposedly all these guys are healthy. Like Jacobs is a tough one because Emmanuel Wilson's been playing a lot more, like more and more and more. And then now finally, if he's healthy, then it could go back to like basically just all Jacobs and 2 or 3 carries for Wilson instead of what it's been the last couple of weeks where Wilson's been more involved.
Well, we'll see how often they tush push. I think that really for Hurts, that's really what it comes down to, is that if they end up in 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 situations 3 times in the game, well, all of a sudden there's 3 free rushing attempts for you.
We also have the tush push narrative here of the Packers were like the main opposer of the tush push. So I don't know. I mean, Sirianni's petty too, so he's probably going to run the shit as much as possible, to be honest.
Of note, Hurts has gone under his rushing attempts of 7.5 in 4 straight games after going over Noonan in the first 4 games.
I like the tush push narrative there too, because you can stumble into kind of cluster, whether it's multiple attempts on the goal line or just sometimes they want to run it on like 3rd and 3, and if they don't get it again and they want to run it on 4th and short, they'll do it. All of a sudden, you've stacked up a couple of freebies there outside of like the actual design runs of the offense and stuff like that. So, yeah, the Jacobs thing I like too. I saw like FanDuel's out to 18.5, and there's some other I think pricier 16.5. I think it is interesting that he is off the injury report. Like this is a time of year where you maybe want to start to turn the screws on your top guys, dealing with the calf, some softer matchups there on paper the last couple of weeks too. Like I could see a scenario where we get back to the 18 to 20 carry Jacobs game. If it is, I think if you like the Packers in the spot, I think that's a really good prop angle to take is Jacobs over 16.5.
Yeah, if you can get the 16.5 number, if that MGM is available to you to do that, the 18.5 I would probably stay away from. But and especially at the other books where you could get it down to 16.5, but then all of a sudden you're paying like minus 150 for everything. You could just go minus 135 for anytime touchdown for Josh Jacobs, which he basically does every single week.
It's a free square. Are you going to put it in the underdog slip?
Yeah, I actually have it on. I went and looked at the carries and I was like, don't really like that. And I was like, oh yeah, anytime touchdown. It's 0.82 on underdog. So I've got us up to, there's a 40% boost in the lobby right now. So I can get us up to 25 to 1. Does that sound good? It's only a max of 50. So we can only win. Oh no, I have 2 errors in my picks. What's going on here? Wait, oh yeah, because I only have Packers. Is that why? No, I don't know what the error is. Tell me what the error is. 1 promo per entry. Remove others. I don't know what the hell's going on now. I'll remove the entry and see what we're doing now. It's only 8.6 to 1 if we don't put in the 40% boost. We put on the 40% boost. We got 12 to 1. Okay, so here it is. Ready? It's a 4-banger. We got Luke Musgrave, lower than 31.5 receiving yards. Evan Williams, over 5.5 tackles and assists. Josh Jacobs, anytime touchdown. Jalen Hurts, over 7.5 rushing attempts. And I'm going to get Christian Watson, the adjusted longest reception up here back to 21, and now we're up to 20 to 1. So $50 pays 1,000. How does that feel?
Sounds
real
amazing.
nice. Yeah.
There we go.
That's great.
Yeah, we've taken all the plays that we like, and we're going in and doing this. I'm going to dump that in the chat right now. If anyone wants to tail that along with me, it'll be in my 4for4 post later on this evening. I did want to talk about the futures market very briefly before we get out of here. And did you guys identify any future bets that you like at this moment that we can maybe hop on?
I got 2 interesting ones. What do you got, Noonan?
Absolutely, guys. You guys are going to hate this so much.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. This is a chalk. This is a chalk for a reason.
Drake May MVP.
Patriots #1 seed in the AFC.
What are the odds right now?
Plus 220 on FanDuel. I think MGM's a little bit bigger than that, but FanDuel pretty much everyone has. I mean, look at the schedule still, right? We've been talking about the schedule for a long time, but coming out of the next couple of weeks, the Patriots have the Jets, Bengals, and Giants, the next 3 before their bye. Then coming out of the bye, tougher games against Buffalo, who they've already beat, who, takes another step back. So they have the edge on Buffalo with the head-to-head, but now they have just straight up wins and losses because Buffalo went and lost to the Dolphins, which is just absolutely brutal. They got to go to Baltimore. That's a tough one. But then Jets and Dolphins again, 17 and 18. So there's just not a lot of losses left on the schedule. When you look at kind of the other 3, there's 2 other teams with the Broncos and Colts that are also 8-2. Those schedules are a lot more difficult. The Broncos have 2 games against the Chiefs still on the schedule. One of those coming up this week. Colts have some, difficult games too. So again, it's soft. They're playing really good football. The wins that they've had, I mean, to go into Tampa and win, catching them off a bye, it's a big win. The win in Buffalo is a big win too. So I just feel really good about this team. I think unpacking the rookies a little bit here. Defense is playing good. it's kind of all systems go. You can go Drake May at 3-1, but I think like Stafford's got a legit case. You know, kind of as like it's such a narrative based award too. So if the Rams capture the number 1 seed and they're kind of rolling, Stafford's a huge piece of that. I think he would get a lot of sentiment in the market there versus young Drake May in year 2. So I like the Pats number 1 seed in the AFC.
All right, Connor, I'm going to give you mine, and it's outrageous and can maybe even statistically not happen, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Broncos to miss the playoffs plus 750.
I don't know if that's possible, but I totally agree that the Broncos are like the worst good team right now in terms of like record.
So the way this breaks down is that there's no other chasers is the problem in the AFC. This would, if you could somehow parlay these together, which I don't think that they allow you to do, you would also have to bet the Jags to make the playoffs if you could do it, because they play later on in the season. They play in, and that's the game that they need to lose. So with this to happen, Chiefs, Commanders, Raiders, Packers, Jags, Chiefs, Chargers. If they lose all the games that they're likely to be underdogs in, both Chiefs games, at the Chargers, at the Packers. So those are 4 games. Just call those 4 losses right now. Not to say that they are going to lose those games. They have an elite defense, but they could lose those games. And they're at Commanders, at Raiders, and then at home against the Jags. They'd have to win all 3 of those games to ensure that they get to 11 wins, which would get you in. If they don't, and they lose that Jags game, they also lose the tiebreaker with the Jags, opening up weird AFC stuff with Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and like a bunch of other teams where they could end up at a tiebreak at 10-7. That would be the path for it. And we all keep calling them the worst 8-2 team we've ever seen, albeit with an awesome defense. But if things just go awry a little bit, it could get bad here.
I mean, I think we're looking at a spot now where, because if the Chiefs make it too, then there's a chance, right, that we would not have to have the Jags in, I think, is what because the Chargers and the Chiefs the Chargers and the Chiefs could both make it, and then they would not need necessarily the Jags to make it either. But the Jags would add another layer to this. I think it just depends. You obviously need the Chiefs to like sweep the Broncos coming up.
Yeah, you need, I think, both Pittsburgh and Baltimore, right?
Yeah, you would need Pittsburgh and Baltimore if the Jags didn't make it. But the Jags, because of the tiebreak potential here with Denver in a head-to-head, might give the best opportunity.
Yeah, I was annoyed we were going to have to talk about the Jags being like legit playoff contenders coming out of the week, because I don't think that they're real. But if you look at the Jags schedule, and I think that could be, adds to your point, Pat, where it's actually pretty interesting. Jags schedule is fairly light for the rest of the way. The Denver game,
Chargers, Denver's, and Colts twice is tough. But they got Cards, Titans, Jets, and Titans against. They had the Titans twice, the Jets, and the Cardinals. You win those 4 games, all of a sudden you're at 9 wins. Then you have to pick up a division win split with someone.
Yeah, it's not. I've heard of crazier things. The problem with the Broncos piece is specifically whatever this Commanders team is. It's not great. That sits on the other side of the bye, and then on the road in Vegas. But on the road in the division, those games can get a little bit wonky. Obviously, they just played at home and couldn't pull away from the Raiders. So I think it makes me feel even better about the Patriots number 1 seed, because it's another one of the 8-2 teams. So the Bo Nix stuff is tough to watch. It seems like Sean Payton doesn't believe in him either. They'll also just be a fun team if they back into the playoffs that we can bet against, because I think some really good football teams can really stop them here.
Okay, Connor, you said you had a bunch. Let's hear them.
Well, I got 2. I got 1 long shot and 1 not a long shot. So we're going to go with, Noonan can have his number 1 seed in the AFC, and that's fine.
Colts.
But this AFC like kind of cast right now is not overly daunting. So I think that a team could go on a run and then walk their way in to one of the easiest 1 and 2 seeds that they could ever play. Going with the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl right now, 14-1, even higher in some spots. They come in, they make the playoffs. Right now they're like -2 something to win their division, which I think they're going to do. The schedule is pretty soft going forward. If Lamar's healthy, Derrick Henry's healthy, defense is getting healthier. I mean, this is the team that we thought they were early on in the season. So even if the defense is not as good as we anticipated, like preseason, even in a league average defense here with that cast, I think can make a run here. Honestly, only concern right now is the Chiefs. I think that they can compete with the Bills very easily, compete with Chiefs very easily. I think they're legit better than the Broncos and Patriots and potentially Colts.
The Bills have just been, we talk so much about San Francisco and how they've been decimated by injuries, both offensively and defensively. We knew that the Bills' offense was just going to be Josh Allen generated anyway, with a bunch of AI NPCs running out at receiver. And that was okay, as long as the defense could do its job. They've lost 5 guys on the defensive line now.
And
corners.
didn't play without corners, starting corners this past week. They dusted off Jordan Poyer and given him like meaningful snaps in the secondary at safety. Yeah, it's a problem. Their offense is kind of, I don't know, it's just so much on Josh, and he's amazing. But like I don't think any of us believe in any of the pass catchers there, right? We had Dalton Kincaid kind of come up with a hammy a little bit, and again, that could have just been Miami Heat, just dehydration. Who knows? But if he's going to miss any time with that too, that becomes a problem. So yeah, I just don't trust the Bills. Again, like they beat the Chiefs, and Connor and I still felt like I think the Chiefs are still the better team, right? The Chiefs got to figure it out and get healthy and get everyone back. And just have more concerns about the Bills moving forward. And the injuries are piling up. Like they got Michael Holt back after his PED suspension, played great for a game and a half, and now he's back out for the year. So they're just kind of mounting up on the defensive side.
So what's the other long shot, Connor? Let's hear it. Or the
No, so this is not a long shot. This is so you can bet right now on the Titans at DraftKings to have under 2.5 wins. They have 1 win right now. This is plus money. You can bet on them to have under 2.5 wins at plus money right now. I mean, the easiest games they have right now are the Browns and the Saints. I mean, I think they're worse than both those teams. So they probably win one of them, maybe. But like, I mean, Texans, Seahawks, Jags twice, Chiefs, Niners, and then those games. Like, I mean, 2 wins there is asking for a lot for this Titans team. So there's probably a better way to play it. You could probably make more money if you just like took the money line of the other team and basically almost every weekend just kept rolling it over outside of, I mean, maybe even with those 2 games, but still, I think the under 2.5 wins is pretty interesting here.
What book was that you said?
DraftKings.
All right, I'm going to write that one down. That's a good one. I like that one. Good bet, Connor. I like it.
That's a good find. Yeah.
Thank you. Hopefully we can get some good bets in the win-loss column here, and we can I'll stop being the brunt of the win-loss record jokes here at the top.
Do you have any take on if Chicago versus Minnesota this week? Connor, I know both you guys are local, but you're a Bears fan, Connor. Is this a loser leaves town match this week?
Yeah, I mean, the Bears are also, again, like they're so bad. I don't like, they have these gritty wins against terrible teams. Like they were down 10 to the Giants with 8 minutes left. Like the Giants stink. And so, yeah, they keep winning these games, and I think they're a little overinflated right now. That being said, I think that they can keep it close with Minnesota, maybe win. I mean, I don't think Minnesota's all that good either. So,
well, it's weird with J.J. McCarthy, Noonan, because he didn't play very well against Baltimore. He made a few nice passes where you can like see it, but it's his 4th career start. Like, I feel like people are putting a lot of pressure on him, and justifiably so, with what they did in the offseason, getting rid of Darnold and making him the starter. But now in his 4th start, we're going into week 11. He got hurt halfway through the year. It's a lot of pressure to have on the guy.
Yeah, I just feel like every week the JJ McCarthy stuff is like we need to have some sort of referendum on like yes or no, is this the guy? And it's like, can we just let the guy play some football? Yeah, we're still early in it. I still think that they're feisty, but I think both those teams are tricky to make the playoffs because I think it's just a little bit clearer in the NFC. And again, we're through 10 weeks, so it's not like it's decided. The Bears continue to keep themselves in the mix with actually just winning football games, even if we have concerns about the stability there. Defense, if Caleb good, definitely loser leaves town though. I mean, I'm not sure that I believe that the winner is well positioned to make the playoffs, but I think the loser of this one is definitely done.
Yeah, the loser is done. It's probably too difficult of an obstacle to come through. Imagine if the Bears had won this game earlier in the year, Connor.
It's what, 7-2 they would be?
Yeah.
I mean,
a game they should have won.
Their defense is so bad. Like it's pathetic. CJ Gardner-Johnson got a game ball last week. I mean, and he's like, because I think he had that sack or something like that, or maybe pick. I don't remember. It was something. He made one big play, and he was like, I don't know, left for garbage basically. Like a couple, like he wasn't even playing. He said he's like, I've been sitting at home doing nothing, and I was able to make a play. So yeah, they're rolling out a bunch of bums on defense, and Caleb's not good enough to put the team on his back in most games.
He actually played a lot better than I think the stat line indicated on Sunday. They had a lot of drops in that game. Like Zacchaeus dropped a touchdown, DJ Moore dropped a touchdown, and there was just more drops over the middle of the field too. Some of that on Caleb with his rocket laser arm that he refuses to take anything off of. But still, these are professional receivers dropping open touchdown passes.
Zacchaeus should be investigated. The next sports betting investigation is going to be on him because, I mean, this guy was just straight selling. He dropped so many balls.
A great throw. It was a great throw. And I mean, tough catch, but like, you're a professional receiver. Like, that's your job. That ball hits you in the hands. You got to catch that touchdown.
What was the odds on that under Tennessee?
I think it was +1. I think it was +120. Let me see exactly where I have it. +140, under 2.5.
That's pretty hot.
I'm gonna go bet that. That's a good find, Connor. I like that one. I'm gonna put out a poll with this on Twitter later of the 4 that we just gave, and I'm gonna vote for that one over the one that I gave out.
It's a good one. I won't, but I think it's a good.
What do you guys got going on for the week? You got or do you have? Well, when do the tackle props come out? Like Sunday morning now, Noonan, at like 11 a.m.
Yeah, so the books look like I thought we killed them. I'll be honest. I was a little panic. I thought we killed the market. Some books have actually completely opted out of the market, which, does make sense. But DraftKings, Caesars, they've come back into the mix. We're getting more on like the prop builder markets than we had been getting in the previous weeks. But yeah, they're a little slower to release. So it used to be pretty heavily on like Wednesday afternoons, we get a bunch. And now we'll get a little bit of limp in on like Friday afternoons. And then like Saturday night, Sunday morning, books are pretty much everyone that's going to get posted gets posted. There's still a few gems out there like Hard Rock and 365 that'll post lock will drop like everyone they think is starting. And there's just a lot of soft stuff to pick off, which is absolutely lovely. So yeah, that's I just continue to have to bet more and more of that. And the outs are harder to find, but I'm glad we're not dead. We didn't kill the market yet.
Connor, I messaged my guys at Coolbet during the show. So in about half an hour's time, you can play under the PME exclusives tab at coolbet.com. Watson over 25 or 26 yards longest catch. Musgrave under 35 yards receiving. Evan Williams over 5.5 tackles and assists. And Jacobs anytime TD. What it gets boosted to, I do not know yet, but I bet you it's going to be pretty spicy.
Whenever you say Evan Williams, I just think of the bourbon. I don't know if that's, maybe my brain's broken or what's not there, but I love the bet. Looks like it's a hammer there. We'll see what it gets boosted to, but I think it's a good look.
All right. That's going to do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. You follow Connor on Twitter. You follow Noonan on Twitter as well. Check out all their work at Betsperts.com and 4for4.com. If you go to 4for4.com/Mayo, you can get the Sharp Stack app for free for 7 days. If you use code Mayo50, then it's 50% off the monthly plan directly after that, if you choose to stay along, which I think after winning some cash, you're going to do. All right. Smash like to this episode, sub to the podcast, sub to the network. And that'll do it for me. I'll be back tomorrow with Jake and Ian for a live show at 10:45 a.m. Eastern time for the rankings, then me, Cust, and Jeff for the spread picks. Plus, coming out directly after this, I have a full breakdown of the Butterfield Bermuda Golf Tournament, some long shot bets in that one with myself and Keith Stewart. So tons of content on Mayo Media Network. Do not go anywhere. All right? I'll see you next time.